there were a few things that you could do to make your jazz playing absolutely blow up, would you do it? And in the end, there's something that I want to teach you that will set you apart from 97% of all other guitarists. Hi there, my name is Adam Smale. I'm a professional jazz musician living here in New York. I'm going to share with you secrets that I've learned in the 45 years of being a professional musician, nearly 30 years of that playing only jazz. Each level will demonstrate a different concept so that no matter where you are in your journey, you can take something new away from each level. Level 1. We've nearly all started here. You have a basic set of chord changes. We use one pentatonic scale throughout the entire song when we improvise. However, instead of a bunch of random notes within the scale, without any thought of what you're playing, let's take the opportunity to play better ideas or statements, better phrasing, more interesting rhythms, and trying to tell a story, and that will set you up to apply these same concepts to all the remaining levels moving forward. Don't forget about the blues foundation. Level 2. Now let's move to a basic jazz blues with the addition of a couple more chords, and we'll now introduce the addition of some arpeggios and start to think more about choosing certain notes of each chord of the moment. Maybe some chromatic notes, but still retaining a sense of the blues, of course. Notice I played some notes early. I'm anticipating the next chord early on an upbeat. This is a huge part of the jazz sound. Let's keep that moving forward as well. But is there a way to keep the blues sensibilities but still make it sound more jazz now? Level 3. Now we'll pay more attention to the chord that we're on at the moment and zone in on targeting chord tones, the notes that make up each chord that we're on at the moment, particularly beats 1 and 3. Things are really starting to heat up, right? We're getting a little more exciting as we go along. Let me know in the comments if you're digging this so far. Now, a lot of people are content to stay at this level. This next level will get you even that much closer to jazz nirvana. Level 4. Ooh, level 4. We're going to hammer down on those chord tones, add some embellishments to our chord tones that we're targeting, and play even more interesting rhythms. We'll add some more chords to the chord progression, and to get it sounding even more like a jazz blues. What are embellishments? Well, we'll be playing more chromatic approach notes and more enclosures. This is what's going to get you sounding more like you're playing real jazz. Chromatic approach notes and particular enclosures heighten the excitement by creating a whirling dervish of chromatic notes before you land on a juicy chord tone to resolve everything. It makes landing on the chord tone that much more effective by causing tension in the form of wrong notes than being resolved to a solid, great sounding note. It's really a large part of what makes jazz tick, actually. Before we go on to level 5, I have to make sure that you don't fall into the common trap that everyone else does. Level 5. So, as guitar players, we're not always soloing. You're actually playing chords 90% of the time, so don't forget to work on the chords too. In straight ahead blues, it's fine to just stay on one chord voicing at a time. But you want to improve your chord knowledge and play more interesting chords, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. A great way to start is with exploring chord inversions. It's the quickest way to create movement so things don't sound stagnant. I'll be playing the nearest chord inversions going down and up the fretboard. For now, just on beats 1 and 3. You can get more creative rhythmically once you feel more comfortable with these new chords. I just happen to choose all chord voicings played on strings 6, 4, 3, and 2. But of course, you can, and you should, do different string groupings. The more comfortable you are with these on at least 4 different string groups, the better you'll sound because you'll have way more options available to you. You now have a glimpse at more options for chords, but now let's look at a new way to think of note choices you probably never heard of before. Level 6. Now we're going to use a different approach to creating lines. This is mostly going to use a 4-note cell for each chord and do it in creative ways. Okay, what's a cell, you're asking? I did a video on this a while back, but to explain it briefly, a cell is typically the root, the second, the third, and the 5th note of any scale. But it really can be any 4 notes that sound melodic, really. And where it gets really effective is if you use a 4-note structure from a scale that's not of the same root of the chord that you're playing it over. If you do it right, you'll also be playing more interesting notes on especially the 5 chord and the 6 chords. Pretty cool, right? But that leads us to another important thing. How do we make our lines even more exciting? And let's introduce something that you already know, but you don't know that you can use it in this unique way. Level 7. Layering different pentatonics over many of our chords other than what you'd see in a more simple blues approach. It can get you playing different sounds and textures that twist the ear in a really good way. Did you know you can play just about at least 3 pentatonics over most chords. For now, let's concentrate on what I think is the juiciest one. Use a minor pentatonic up a minor third from the root of the chord that you're playing over. So for F7, use A flat minor pentatonic. For D7, use F minor pentatonic. And for C7, use E flat minor pentatonic. Look at that. You can use the same scales and sounds that you already know, just differently. By the way, I'll leave a link to watch 3 videos that goes deeper on all different ways to use pentatonics on chords. I'll also leave a link for that video that I mentioned on using 4-note cells. If you really like this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button while you're here so I can let you know when my next video is released. And if you want to go one step further and support me on Patreon, that'd be so much appreciated by me. The link is below as well. Now, there's another common substitute that jazz musicians do to take your playing even further. Level 8. Tritone substitution. You may have heard of it before. It's when you play a chord or improvise over a chord that's a tritone away from the root of the original chord. I'm gonna go slightly overboard here with it just for demonstration purposes. So let's pretend that I've played several times through it already and I've worked up to this tension-filled version at the end to end my last chorus of my solo. You'll see the chords that I'm thinking about in brackets while I'm playing. I would be remiss if I didn't include what is considered the ultimate jazz blues, the pinnacle, top of the heap, the jazz blues to end all jazz blues. Level 9. The Bird Blues. It's a blues set of chord changes that Charlie Parker came up with, thusly the bird part. Likely mostly notably a Charlie Parker song called Blues for Alice. It's really interesting twist on the blues and a little tougher to play because it has a few more chord changes. And notice that the first chord is F major 7, not F7. That's not a typo. Are you ready to take your playing to that final level? What could you do that 97% of most guitarists avoid when they're improvising?
Level 10.
Come on, that was kind of anticlimactic for a level 10. Level 10. Okay, that's a little better. As I mentioned earlier, most guitarists don't know or rarely take things to this level. How do you play chords for yourself like a piano player does? Or how how do you get as close as you can to sounding like two guitar players? In other words, how do you get to the point where you don't have to rely on somebody else accompanying you? That's known as comping. While you're soloing or playing melodies, how do you do this all by yourself? The art of comping for yourself while you're improvising is the pinnacle of jazz guitar, in my opinion. So I put together a really great lesson on this that you can download. You won't need a piano player or even another guitar player to back you up. You'll be self-contained. You'll sound great with even just a drummer and a bass player. Just click on the link below and you'll be taken to my website where you can get the lesson and learn how to do this concept from the ground up until you get to the stage where you're playing similar to how I just did. Click on the link below and you'll have the lesson in 2 minutes.